Hello and welcome to Busseys Ford here in Norwich. I'm Kev Harris and you join us at what is a very exciting time because we're going to be bringing you an introductory look at Ford's first ever fully electric commercial vehicle, and it's right here, the new e-Transit. Transit is the best-selling cargo van in the world and has been the mainstay of millions of commercial vehicle customers and their businesses since it was first launched back in 1965. And that was the year man first walked in space. And now, 57 years later, and e-Transit is hitting similar groundbreaking milestones thanks to the latest in vehicle connectivity, EV technology, fast flexible charging options and a raft of exciting innovation from the designers and engineers at Ford. Transit is a vehicle that has touched most of our lives, from house moves to moving people, to being a mobile office or workstation, to being the facilitator of the fast and efficient deliveries that we all now rely on. Put simply, Transit is the vehicle to get the job done. Well, it really is great, isn't it, taking a look at some of those iconic Transit images there from back in the day. And it makes you realise what a vehicle this has been for so many people, and now the next generation are going to enjoy the latest version, the all-electric e-Transit. I'm pleased to say that joining us to have a chat about it this evening here in Norwich is Ant Bryce. Ant, thanks for joining us, one of the sales team here at Busseys. You guys, I know, do so many commercial vehicles in this part of the world, so you must be thrilled that the e-Transit is finally here, and you know your folks have been able to get out and test drive it and get their hands on one.
Absolutely, we're driving this earlier myself as well. What an absolute machine this thing is. Yeah. Bucket loads of power, plenty of torque, and extremely comfortable and very, very quiet.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Good.
You've kind of wrapped up the driving experience
Definitely.
Already straight away there, because you know, as I alluded to at the start of this, big commercial dealership in the area here, and now we're offering an all-electric version. Your guys then have been out driving it this afternoon, all the sales team here, yourself, you've been test driving it. You've been around commercial vehicles for a long time. What is it like to drive?
It is really, really well. It shares all the same characteristics as the Transit, best-selling van that we know for donkey's years. Yeah. But this thing with that electric motor, the power and the torque, and just how quiet and smooth it was as well, just fantastic. It really is an iconic vehicle. And
where we are here in the showroom, obviously we're over on the commercial side, but just across the way over there are all the kind of the regular vehicles, if you like, the non-commercials, the Mackeys and the Cougars and the Focus, what have you. When you sit in this and you go and sit in one of those, we're treating these commercial guys too well. This is a lovely bit of kit, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. You wouldn't want to be putting your feet on the dashboard of this one. You'd really want to look after it. But everything about it is extremely comfortable, especially where the gear shifter is, just the seating position as well, and obviously with the technology too. Yeah, really good.
And just mention again where we are in the world. If you've not been out to Norwich before, if you don't know it, we are very much in the heart of commercial vehicle country. I mean, we were chatting before about Rangers. You know, there are so many farmers and people love Rangers out here, but then the Transit van sort of like fills the gap as well for moving stuff around. And you've been here for 11 years.
I have.
You must have so many kind of great sort of relationships with your customers that you know they're going to be picking up the phone, and you're already reaching out to them at this stage.
Definitely. So being Norfolk's largest and main Ford dealership within the county, we've got an absolute arm's length of customers that are willing to just get in and have a go in this fantastic vehicle.
Brilliant, lovely, Anne. Thanks so much.
No problem, thank you.
Don't forget, we are live here in Norwich this evening, so we're on the Facebook, so if you're watching us right now, use that little comments box below. Ant's team, is it Susie behind the scenes? Yeah, so she's behind the scenes at the moment, so if you put a comment in the box below, you might get an answer from her tonight, but if not in the coming days or beyond, once the video sits on Facebook in the future, then do put something in the comments. We'll get back to you if there's something that you hear that we don't fully touch on. The team are waiting to hear from you. Right, without further ado, let's get things underway. Let's start talking all about e-Transit. So here we are then at the front of e-Transit, and this is where you'll find the unique front grille, and you know it's an e-Transit because these lovely blue flashings on the front of that, so that's how you know that it's an e-Transit, not just a regular diesel Transit. It's also where you'll find the charge socket, and we'll talk more about charging a little bit later on, but the headline news is this, that you will get a best-in-class range of up to 196 miles, and that is actually 3 times the daily average driven by commercial customers in Europe. And charging options, fast and flexible. You get depot charging, which I imagine a lot of commercial vehicle customers will be using, and you can put up to 100% of that energy back into it on a commercial power supply with depot charging in as little as 8 hours. And if you're out and about on the road and use a DC powered fast charger, high powered fast chargers that are popping up all over the place these days, then you can put up to 80% back in as little as 34 minutes. Now externally, when you take a walk and look down the side here, you won't notice really any difference to perhaps the existing diesel Transit that you're using at the moment, and that's because the dimensions are all still the same. And it comes to you in up to 25 different variants when you start looking at heights and wheelbases. And because of the way the battery is positioned, and just to say that those heights and wheelbases, that's across the van that you see here, the double cabin van and the chassis cab, so everything that you're kind of used to already with Transit. And with the way that the battery is positioned underneath the rear load floor, you actually get no loss of payload compared to the Transit that you're probably driving around in at the moment. In fact, to show you just how close this is, the E-Transit, to its much-loved diesel counterpart, we decided to put 2 side by side and do a little bit of a comparison. And we got Nick Day to show us around.
As we've already been hearing, the all-new E-Transit is still very much the Transit we all know and love. And it's no surprise there's many similarities both internally and externally. So we thought it'd be a really good idea to just show you how familiar you're going to be with this E-Transit by comparing it side to side with one of its diesel counterparts, in particular the rear doors and the load area. Now here at the rear, you'll be hard pressed to play a game of Spot the Difference. The only external clue that this is an E-Transit is the unique badging. Let's open the doors and have a look and see what's going on inside. Internally, the load carrying capabilities that make the Transit such a workhorse remain largely unchanged. We have a load area of just over 15 metres cubed and a payload of 1,758 kilos for the van and more for the chassis cab, with tie-down points and our rack mounting capabilities that we're used to. If you already work with our qualified vehicle modifiers for your company's conversions, I'm almost certain there'll be no problem at all. Now the clever part of the design is even with the battery sitting in the chassis here below the load floor, we could see a difference in load height between 3 and 5 centimetres. But parked next to the all-wheel drive diesel version, you can see they're almost identical. Hopefully you've seen now that the all-new E-Transit is still very much a Transit, now though with the addition of the exciting electric drivetrain. Let's head back to the dealership and learn about options for charging.
Lovely, big thanks to Nick there. And when you see them side by side like that, you realise just how little has changed in your day-to-day sort of way that you're going to use it and load it and move stuff around. You're probably not going to notice all that much difference. So the E-Transit then is still the workhorse, the Transit workhorse that we know and love, except for it's simply now powered by the cleaner and more efficient option of a battery and a motor. So let's take a look at some of the EV tech that is at the heart of E-Transit, starting with the battery. So the 400 volt battery then, as we just saw, is positioned in a sealed structural box under the rear floor, and it has a class leading 68 kilowatt usable hours, which is in layman's terms, as far as you and I are concerned, equal to a maximum range of up to 196 miles off a full charge. And as you can see here, the motor is positioned between the rear wheels on the rear axle, in the rear subframe it is, and that ride and handling is improved thanks to independent coil spring rear suspension now. And as we heard from Nick, and as we were just seeing as well, with the way that the battery is positioned, there is no loss of payload. Still just over 15 metres cubed in the van and 1,758 kilograms or 1.7 tonnes, and obviously more on the chassis cab, so no changes there. Now, E-Transit has been designed to be both fast and flexible when it comes to charging. You can control all of the charging options and plan all the charging options via the Ford Pass Pro app or using the Ford e-Telematics fleet solution. And charging back at the depot then is probably what a lot of commercial vehicle customers and companies will be doing, and off that commercial power supply should take around 8 hours, and we have a number of solutions to help you with this. And at home, If you're a residential user or you take it home in the evening, panic not, because with the Ford wall box it's also pretty convenient. You're looking at a full charge there in around 11 hours, something like 8 to 11 hours. And you can also use a standard 3-pin plug socket and the mobile charge cable, but obviously off that lower rated power supply your charge time will be longer. For top-ups on longer journeys when you're out and about on the road, well, look, you can put up to 80% capacity back in as little as 34 minutes. And this is when you're using any one of the DC fast chargers that are part of the 16,000 outlet Blue Oval charging network. And access to that network is free for 12 months with every e-Transit as part of Ford e-Telematics. And as you notice, and also all over the country these days and all across Europe, that number of fast charge sockets is growing by the week. It is just going. So I was keen to see what is it like in the real world when you're out and about in one of these, and if in the time that I wanted to stop for a coffee and check a few work emails, I could put enough energy back into the battery to keep the transit wheels rolling. And to do that, I took one for a run for the day out to Essex. Here's how I got on. So, as we've been hearing with the e-Transit and charging, you have a few options. But one thing that I've been learning over the last few years, since I've been learning about electric vehicles like the e-Transit, is that the place that you will most frequently recharge will be back at the depot in the evening or at home overnight. This means that you wake up each and every morning with a full charge ready to go again. And this is certainly the most cost-effective and easiest way to do so, putting the service station on your own doorstep. But what about if you're out and about away from home or perhaps on a longer journey? Where will you charge and how long will it take? Fast charging at an electric forecourt like this new GridServe facility here in Braintree, Essex is definitely the way to go when you want a quick turnaround, because they have reliable, super fast charging on site for up to 36 vehicles. Right, so the time is just coming up to 12:30. Let's see how many miles I can add to my range in the time it takes me to nip inside, grab a coffee, go to the loo and check a few work emails. Right, so there we go. I've been plugged in for 20 minutes and I've added 71 miles to my range, which is great because that's more than I need for the rest of the day to get all of my jobs done and to head back to the depot. And while this method of fast DC charging is not something that you want to rely on all the time, it certainly is a fast and convenient way to add some miles to your range. So let's head back to the dealership now then and learn about the rest of Ford Pro. So there you go, and I have to say it was really easy to use that electric forecourt out there in Braintree and Essex. And remember, with depot charging and the home wall box solution, you may not end up doing that all too often. You'll probably be charging up when you get back to the workplace. Back here though in Norwich, and I have to say that sitting up in the e-Transit, as Ant was telling us a little bit earlier on, it's a lovely place to be, and you get this great sense of openness and space when you're sitting here, because you know, when you look here, you've got no sort of like gear shifter or gear lever, and the physical handbrake has gone, and they've been replaced with this, the electric parking, the electric sort of gear dial and the electric parking brake. And the parking brake ends up just down here by your right knee, so it's really easy and convenient to find. Heated seats and a heated windscreen then come as standard. You can actually precondition the cabin temperature while the vehicle is on charge, so when you get into it in the morning it's set as you would like, and you can do that using the Ford Pass Pro app, or as you can see here, using the 12-inch touchscreen display, which is part of the Sync 4 system. And let's talk about Sync 4, because Sync 4 is the control centre for e-Transit, and it's by far the best sync system to date that Ford have developed. And with a built-in modem as well behind the scenes, E-Transit is a fully connected electric vehicle that works seamlessly within the Ford Pro ecosystem, which is the innovation from Ford that puts all of your commercial vehicle needs in one place. Useful stuff like telematics and data. And if this is the first time that you've ever heard about Ford Pro, panic not, because we sent Tori Campbell along to the commercial vehicle show in Birmingham earlier this year to learn all about Ford Pro and some of the technology that's gone into this industry-leading system.
I'm at the CV show here in Birmingham where we're launching the Ford Pro brand. The story is all about the connectivity and technology on board, which is really at the heart of the E-Transit. And I think I've just spotted the ideal man to tell us some more.
No problem. Take care. See ya.
Andy, can I borrow you just for a moment?
Of course you can.
Thank you. You're the Fleet Ownership Experience Manager here at Ford. So what I wanted to know is, what do you and your team do with the data from connected vehicles?
At the heart of Ford Pro is E-Transit, and indeed the whole of the commercial vehicle family. They all have integrated modems, and they're able to push data from the vehicle up into the cloud. And that has one single ambition, is to maximise the amount of uptime of our customers and therefore their own productivity. The Ford Live connected uptime system uses the real-time data from the cloud in order to liaise between customer, dealer and Ford Motor Company. And therefore the idea is, by taking the VOR, the vehicle off-road information, we are able to understand what parts might be required, what diagnostic routines might be required, and hopefully get the right technician in place to absolutely minimise your downtime and get you back on the road.
So as Andy just said, connected vehicles allow us to do so much more in terms of maximising productivity. However, being here at the show, I've realised there is a lot more to Ford Pro. So I'm here with Mandy Dean, Ford of Britain's Commercial Vehicles Director. So Mandy, why Ford Pro and why now?
Well, around the world, tens of millions of Ford trucks and vans are at work every day, helping people to get their jobs done. And whilst their work may not make the headlines, they make our world run, and they are what Ford is all about. And those customers are going through huge and unprecedented change right now. Businesses and organisations of all sizes see the promise of electric and digital vehicles, but they know it's going to be a complicated shift and they're worried about it. They want to work with a single trusted partner, not cobble together a bunch of different services to help them get this transition right. And that's exactly why we've created Ford Pro.
So here at the show and in your advertising, I've seen that Ford Pro is all about productivity. But what does that actually mean for your customers?
Well, our mission is to provide a seamless end-to-end solution for best-in-class vehicles, charging, software, service and financing, all from a single trusted partner. And we want to help those customers make their transition to an electrified future really simple and completely worry-free. But Ford Pro really comes into its own when it translates the data that Andy was talking about into the things that really matter for our customers, like improved uptime, reduced running costs, smarter charging and simpler administration. It basically brings together the 5 key pillars of commercial productivity solutions, so the vehicles, services, software, charging solutions and financing, all that just simply work better together.
Well, big thanks to Andy Patton and Mandy Dean there, and Tori for going along to the Commercial Vehicle Show in Birmingham. And I have to say, when you get in under the bonnet, pardon the pun, of all of the data and the telematics that Ford Live starts to, throw back at you, which is just one part of Ford Pro, you realise what a game changer that is going to be for businesses both large and small and everyone else in between. So hopefully that has answered some of your questions about the new e-Transit. And if there's anything we've missed, don't panic. Put something in the comments box below, like I said, and Ant and his team will respond to those comments in the coming days on the Facebook. Or better yet, pick up the phone and give them a call and come on down and take a look at one, because they would love to hear from you. They'd love to get you booked in for a test drive just as soon as that is able to happen. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. That is then the new e-Transit, Ford's first fully ever electric vehicle. Still every bit of transit then, but now a fully electric commercial vehicle workhorse for the 21st century and beyond. See ya.